Hello kindred longevity lifestyle designers, this is Zach here, and it's Q&A on Sunday, and I've got a couple questions, so I'm going to get right into them. First one is from Estevan Music, and they're asking, you use five-toed dragons extensively in your videos, and could you tell me why? And yeah, in one of the backdrops I use in some of my videos, I like to change it up, so yeah, I have one image, it's actually just over there, but I'm using a different one today. In fact, here, I'll just turn the camera so you can actually see that. This image here, you got to see my messy desk, which I never show. But that image there, yes, it's a five-toed dragon, which in Chinese terminology, that's sort of the royal dragon. And I'm not using it specifically for any reason, it's just an image that I picked up at a local store here. Sort of like a parchment paper print. And yeah, it's the dragons that were used in terms of having a royal symbolism. Four-toed dragons in Chinese lore is sort of the ones that were seen or shown in sort of the more common people. They used that sort of symbology, and the five-toed dragons were specifically for the royalty. And then I believe it's Tibetan dragons that have 3 toes. I could be wrong on that. But anyways, there's different numbers of toes for the different types of Asian or Oriental dragons from different areas in the world. And I know the Koreans have a specific meaning attached to the number of fingers or toes they have on them. But yeah, specifically I know that the five-toed ones is the royal dragons, and it just happens to be the print I have. It's not a set thing I'm trying to convey any secret messages in my videos or anything like that. Hope Solo Fan 18 has asked what I think of purple corn extract in a diet that is low in simple sugars, and does it have a substantial amount of simple sugars? And yeah, to a certain extent, corn is going to have more simple sugars than your average vegetable or fruit. Well, maybe not most fruits that are high in sugar, but I mean more like the types of fruits that we don't necessarily think of as fruits, but botanically the fruits like cucumbers and peppers, which are no sugar fruits or very low sugar fruits. So corn, yes, it's got a starch and a bit of sugar in it, or it converts easily to sugar in the body. And actually at Hippocrates, they do serve corn on the cob, raw, which was delicious when I was there. But they did recommend to me personally, since I was on the no sugar diet when I was there, and not low simple sugar diet, but the no sugar diet, to not consume more than 1 or 2 half cobs. So maybe 1 cob total might be a little too much. But if you're using a purple corn extract, one, it's an extract, you're probably not getting too much of the starch. It's more of the potent properties of it. But if you're using the whole corn, purple corn powder, even then, I believe because it's a more traditional based food, it's not as hybridized as sort of the yellow and white corn that you see. It's not going to be as harmful in terms of creating too much sugar in the body. But yeah, you can still use corn, just don't go eating like 3 cobs or more. It's going to be like eating a cooked potato in terms of how easily it turns to sugar. It's kind of a higher glycemic food. And you say you're on a low simple sugar diet anyways, you're not cutting out all sources of sugar in your diet completely, so yes, you do have room for these things. Also, eating some carrots is fine, eating beets is fine. I would recommend against the juices of those. Same, I wouldn't juice corn. I haven't really heard of people drinking corn juice, but that might be something that would be introducing too much simple sugar into your body too quickly. So yeah, I mean the purple corn extract, it's very low sugar because it's an extract, and also the fact that it's a traditional or less hybridized food, it's going to be less potent in the starches and sugars in that way. You also mentioned that you said the only simple sugar you're eating is licorice. I'm assuming it's licorice root. Oh yeah, you said licorice root. But I just wanted to point out, you didn't ask this, but I wanted to point out that licorice root isn't a simple sugar at all. It's actually metabolized, it's not recognized by the body as sugar, even though it's very sweet. And it's actually a variety of glucose molecules all combined together in this like huge ball or molecular sized ball, and it's called glycyrrhizin, which is the compound in licorice root, and that it's comparable to stevia in the sense that it can taste sweet, but it's not going to have an effect on your blood sugar. But licorice root taken continuously over the long term does raise cortisol levels in the body, and I also want to mention it's like potent phytoestrogen. So those are the downsides of licorice root, although it's a great sweetener. If you were wanting to use it continuously over the long term, I'd look at the Chinese variety of it, because it's less toxic in the long term. You can use it daily for long term, but you are getting slightly elevated cortisol levels, as well as, and by the way, that's the hormone that you release under constant daily stress. So you're kind of getting a little bit of too much stimulation on the adrenal glands from licorice root, whether it's Chinese or Western. But Western licorice root has its own toxic properties that you can't take it for too long of a period of time. And then, although the Chinese variety doesn't have that property, it's still very potent phytoestrogen. You just want to make sure you're not getting too many high sources of phytoestrogens. And that will cause an imbalance in your hormones in the long run. So as you can see, I've got a change of scenery here. I was having some technical difficulty with my camera last night, and I just want to say right now that if for a couple days you don't see many videos from me, it's because I'm out purchasing a new camera or trying to figure out what's wrong with this one. It's a little bit irritating because it's not that old, but you know, sometimes that's what you get with technology. Anyways, the last question was from Nicole on Facebook, and she was asking what she can do about her kids not being satisfied with the raw food that she's just transitioning into. And right off the bat, I would say that yes, anyone transitioning to anything, if it's done too abruptly or without enough awareness, that will happen, is people just won't be satisfied, because your body gets used to eating a certain way, and when you transition out of that, you can either have either feeling overstuffed from a certain type of food if you're eating more of something, or if you're not eating enough of a certain nutrient, you're going to feel unsatisfied. Now, I'd specifically say that people's metabolisms get used to either eating high sugar diets or high fat diets or high protein diets, or somewhere combination of that. Now, in terms of what's optimal for long-term health, there's various ideas around that, but I would definitely say that a high simple sugar diet is not optimal, and yet there's a lot of raw food that's doing that. Specifically, too much fructose, which can be anywhere above 25 grams a day. Too much fructose will raise insulin resistance, which means the cells aren't absorbing the glucose in your blood, and that's going to cause all sorts of erratic blood sugar issues. That can be a reason for not feeling satisfied. Another reason for not being satisfied is that you're not having enough density in the foods you're eating. You're eating too many light foods, and people get caught up in trying to feel light all the time. Yet, you know, we need opposites in our diet. We need light and heavy foods. So mushrooms, root vegetables, anything that you can think of as being denser, we need a certain amount of that, in my opinion, and that's kind of in line with what Chinese medicine believes. We've got yin and yang, and we want to balance that in our body. Of course, eating too much fat is going to be a problem as well, but if your children are used to eating either high sugar or high fat or even high both, they're going to have problems if you're transitioning them too quickly. So I'd recommend, you know, leave some of the foods they're used to in there and then transition them more slowly, or, you know, make use of high protein foods which balance blood sugar for the long term. So this can be, if they're able to eat chlorella tabs, this balances blood sugar, you can give them, you know, unlimited amounts of those, and they can eat like 5 to 10 at a time in between meals if they can't sustain themselves between meals. Spirulina is another one. It's a little more palatable for some people in terms of algae. E3 Live is another one, but you know, that's a little pricier. And other sources of high protein are Sunwarrior protein. You know, you can use organic grass-fed raw whey powder. That's a protein source. And just any other high protein food like hemp seed, chia seed is another great one. These are all balancing to the blood sugar because you're getting a slow burning fuel. And fat is a slow burning fuel as well, but it has, too much of it has other problems associated with it. So experiment with some of those. Check out the Hippocrates Health Institute's diet, see what their framework's about. Green juice is a great thing for balancing blood sugar and getting satisfied on a raw diet. And also the Tree of Life has a similar program. You know, these are the diets that are working for people and who have disease, who want benefits of sort of a more anti-aging type of lifestyle. So I hope you enjoyed those questions and answers, and ask them again throughout the week, and I'll answer them next week if I have a camera, of course. And have a great week. Bye.